Greetings, fellow travelers. Welcome on in. This is the RPG Cave level 179. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, the level 109 human Dark Lord, and I'm joined, as always, by the level 199 Elf Battle Alchemist, Dr. Garret Bland. How's it going, Garret?
It's going well. I just want to tell you, Ryan, I've been using these rechargeable batteries for a very long time. Probably ever since I got an Xbox One. Like the original Xbox One. Well, I actually had an Xbox One S, the white one. Remember that one?
I do. It wasn't as much of a VCR as the previous one.
Yeah, it was actually pretty nice form factor and everything. That must have been 2015, 2016, something like that. But I've had these rechargeable batteries. You know, they come in a double pack, and I use them all the time for my controllers for my Series X.
Okay.
No problem whatsoever. You know, no short battery life. I can just alternate between two of these. I have a rechargeable pack here. Amazing. Best probably purchase peripheral or whatever for gaming ever. It was probably like $12, something like that on Amazon. So
okay.
There you go, Ryan. Rechargeable batteries. I just wanted to shout that out in the beginning of the show because I know, you know, there's so many random things I just say in the beginning of the show is entertaining to you. So
shout out to rechargeable batteries. You know,
shout out to rechargeable batteries. They actually work. Well, most of them work. I'm sure some of them are duds.
For sure.
Ryan, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Yes.
It's been a while.
I know you were away.
I was away, yes.
And, you know, we decided, you know, for my mental health, I decided to take the 2 weeks off as well. So
nice.
I am happy, though, that we're back. God, we have so much to talk about. I'm looking at our document already. I'm just like, dude, a lot of things happened in those 2 weeks.
A lot of things, yeah. You know, it's funny because the timing of me going out of town was like, it was only 1 week, but it was Saturday to Saturday. It was like the worst timing for us ever, right? So I left like the previous Saturdays before and then came back this Saturday back. And so it would just miss that podcast time. But
okay.
Anyways, it was good. I went to LA.
Yeah. We'll talk about it probably in your three things. But before we do that, of course, let's of course, clear the dungeons. We get to the raid boss as quickly as possible. Of course, we got new patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, starting off with Jack with 2 Ks. And as a free member, so shout out to Jack for hopping on in there to the old Patreon. And also Jonas Young returning to the old Patreon at the exclusive tier. So shout out to Jack and Jonas Young for hopping on in to the old Patreon. Of course, we have some new Patreon content, including the Patreon podcast for Patrons podcast, with, you know, Matt's episode of the Pants podcast is out now, and Seth is, of course, going to be out tomorrow. So you can make sure to check that out as well. And early access to the mini indie van continues. So please make sure to send all your feedback to Fulia. Check out the show. And let us know what you think about this cool little indie show. Of course, though, we do have some news to talk about as well. We do have to discuss that Matt and Ron have both decided to step down from Carpool Gaming and from the PlayStation Drive. We will have one final episode with them on Sunday, April 27th, aka tomorrow night. So make sure to come by and check us out. And then, of course, the show we will be put on indefinite hiatus as we're working towards what's next behind the scene. So, I mean, please be excited. I know this is some sad news, but we've got some exciting things, you know, brewing behind the scenes that we want to tell you about in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm personally really excited to do that episode with them tomorrow night. As we kind of say goodbye to Matt and Ron, even though I know they'll still be in the Discord. So it won't be a true goodbye. It'll just be a goodbye from the show.
They'll be just as annoying in the Discord channels with Nagachaka with his Xenobabes. You know, I am part of the Xenobabe, you know, group. But I guess I'm just not as hardcore because I'm not playing Xenoblade Chronicles X.
I mean, you played it before most of the Xenobabes did, Garret.
Yeah, I was doing it before it was cool. Yeah. Just saying.
Of course.
And then, of course, Ron with his Trails, like, ride with all those 27 games with Kevin Ainsworth.
The Falcon Bros?
The Falcon Bros, yes.
Yeah, of course.
What a different breed that is.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Well, it's always rough to see, people coming in and out of the group, of course. People are people. We have to make our own decisions, and it's really nice to be a part of this group. I really appreciate, at least just coming from me, just spending the time with you, spending the time with everyone else in the group. All of them are hardworking, take the time to really deliver content, but also having fun too. It's all about, entertainment for ourselves, but also with the audience.
Yeah.
But definitely good luck to Nagachaka and Ron. Of course, we're going to still be hearing all about their gaming thoughts and takes on Discord. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, that's all the housekeeping. So Garret, hit me with your 3 things. Spoiler alert, I already know it's more than 3 things.
Okay, we got 5 things going on here, right?
5 things.
I decided to go a little bit extra here. Of course, we have to gain back all the things that we missed over the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever. So,
Of course. Well, then wouldn't it mean that you'd have to come back with 9 things, Garret?
Well, we're gonna recoup, over the next few weeks. It's not just gonna be 3 things. It's gonna be like 7 things next week. I don't know. It could be 2 things. It just depends on the importance of things and when the things come.
And what kind of things they even are.
Exactly. It could be just so spontaneous. Anyways, I'm practicing my latte art, Ryan. So it's going okay. I'm still trying to get the formation down.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm getting you in there. There you go.
I'm showing a picture of my latte art real quick here. It's not good right now. You can see it's like a little bit of a flower. You know the latte art, right? It's the little leaves and the swirls that come down. It's an art. And I'm really trying to figure it out.
I mean, it's got art in the name. I would assume it's an art, Garret.
Yeah. It's abstract for sure. So practicing my latte art. We'll see how that goes. I need to figure out the right consistency of the milk and the foam for the drink. It's a whole thing. But thank you very much, Fulia, for complimenting on my latte art. But I would like to get better.
I like this comment from Yarden. It's a great latte octopus.
Thank you so much, Yarden. That's 100% what I was going for. So, thank you so much.
That's pretty cool, though. I love the idea that you're trying to you've got like another hobby that's like outside of video games where you're trying to perfect latte art, Garret.
Oh my goodness, dude. I go through YouTube shorts and they're like, let me show you how to create the best latte. Or like, here's my crazy espresso homemade machine. Let's go. It's an ASMR thing to me. It's just like, yes, make that latte, make that coffee. And you know what they do, Ryan? They weigh out the whole beans, to the exact amount. They spray it with water to make sure you have the right moisture content.
Okay.
And then they go through their whole process. I won't go into detail because that would take up the whole rest of the show. And this is not a coffee latte podcast. So
it could be, but not.
It could be, but it's not. Okay, second thing. Let's make it more relevant to gaming. I went to Universal Studios in LA, which means I went to Nintendo World.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, I to be fair, I already knew this because you shared a picture with me where you were at the theme park. But dude, how was it?
It was cool. I think they did a really good job at capturing the Mario atmosphere in an amusement park-like setting. It was clearly separate from the rest of the park. The other park and many different adventures that kind of blend in together, but the Super Nintendo World itself is like you have to go through a warp pipe,
right,
in order to get there. And you go through the warp pipe, and actually, like the paintings from Super Mario 64 and the little castle was like right there. Like at the entrance, it was so in the sky roof and everything. It was so cool. Getting into the park, there was just a lot of different like blocks or whatever. You can jump up at them and like it'll make a noise.
Because you've got like the wrist thing that responds to like the POW blocks and stuff, right?
Yes, we didn't get the wrist things because those do cost money, but we just wanted
Oh,
to get there to do the rides and then also go to the cafe. There was a lot of animatronics on the top, so you saw a lot of Koopalings, a lot of Bob-ombs, a lot of piranha plants, and so on and so forth. You saw Mario and Luigi over there, like in their mascot like costumes or whatever. The biggest ride there is the Mario Kart ride or challenge, and basically what you do in there. I actually really like the lineup for it, like the entrance, because you go through all of Bowser's castle, and there's so many different homages to Mario Kart itself. You got the badges, the Mario Kart badges, like physically on top of the wall.
okay.
You got like kind of the bomb factory, and the little mini Bowser bomb things. I don't know what they're called, but they're also made there in the factory. It was like in an electronic visual sort of way. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, because it's like an AR. It's supposed to be like an AR ride or whatever, right?
Yeah, so basically what happens is you get into the cart with 3 other people, and then you put on these visor goggle AR things. And basically what you do, the objective is you have the little like Mario Kart wheel with buttons on top, and
Right.
you basically aim with your head against the Bowser's like team in the Mario Kart world, and they'll just show up like on your visor, and the ride's kind of like it's trying to move for you too. And so really the objective is okay, use your shells to like beat up the Bowser's teammates or whatever, and whoever get the most wins. I was last place out of all three, all
Oh,
four
shit.
of us.
That sucks.
So I think I just was shooting too many shells at my at my allies as well, or whatever. But it was a super cool ride, for sure.
Garret, of course, the team killer, getting
team
the
killer.
most kills on his team. But
For sure, for
yeah,
sure.
Felia says it sounds like fun. Honestly, that sounds like a fun ride. So
Yeah, super fun ride. It actually took a long time to get through. Even so, I went on a Tuesday. Not like this was outside of spring break, outside of summer. So it was like probably the lowest amount of people you could think of at this park, and it took probably like 45 minutes to get through the line.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, one ride, and we'll do other rides. But other than that, yeah, I like the merch there. The merch was super cool. You got shirts and coffee mugs. They were doing some specials with what was it, Yoshi? I don't know. They had those. Universal Studios has those fan nights, and so the speciality for Nintendo World was actually Yoshi merch. So you had a Yoshi like Mario Kart like bomber jacket type of deal. They had like pajamas and socks, and it was like all sorts of stuff with Yoshi, which was interesting. No games. There's absolutely no video games selling at this.
I mean, that
store or
doesn't
anything.
surprise me.
Yeah.
It's an amusement park. They're probably not going to sell you games to carry around with you all day.
Yeah, that's true. So, and then I went to Toadstool Cafe, and you had to make a reservation for that. And so at the Toadstool Cafe, it's just a typical like kind of food court restaurant.
Yeah, but it's Mario themed though.
It's all Mario themed, including the food items. I had the Luigi burger, and it was like a like grilled chicken with some pesto and whatever. But they put a little Luigi plastic cap on top, and they put the mustache, little like implemented on top of the bun. And Luigi and Mario's mustache is different too.
Okay.
And they made sure that it's like a different like shape. And so I had the Luigi burger, and then we also had the Mario burger. There was the Fireball Challenge, which was literally a pound of meatball meat, and it was like spicy.
Okay.
And so it was like, I think it was like Bowser themed or whatever when we shared that, and that was super delicious. And then you go into this cafe, and you see like kind of like animations like all across the wall of toads making and cooking food, and then you see sometimes Bowser's ship come into the village and like shoot cannonballs or whatever, and it would turn dark in the cafe. It was like, so think of like Rainforest Cafe but Mario themed.
Okay.
That's what it felt like. But yeah, super cool, super fun.
Dude,
being over there. Yeah.
that sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like you had a great time. I haven't really known like anyone in real life that's actually gone to the theme park. So it's actually pretty cool to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it was super cool. And then we got tickets, and then there was a limited time deal where we get a second day free. So any time of the year. So once we
Nice.
bought our tickets, we can go back for free any other day. So
Okay.
that's
cool.
what we'll do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's super far away for you to go again. Yeah, because it's different from me, being in Canada. If I wanted to go back for a second day, it's like, well, you got to plan a whole trip around that. So,
Yeah, I just drive down and then just hang out for like a week or whatever. So
nice.
okay, these other next few things will be super quick. But so third thing, Ambernick, my little Chinese Game Boy.
Yes.
A little SP.
You're a big fan of Ambernick.
I'm a big fan because they provide cheap but good quality emulation devices to the palm of your hand. The SP is probably by far I'm getting the most utility out of a emulation machine ever. They have halted shipments to US because of the tariffs. So for folks who were interested in an Ambernick device, some of them are still in local warehouses in the US, and they're probably selling on Amazon. But once those are out, there's not going to be anything. So better get your Ambernick devices when you can, because they'll run out for sure. So thing number 4. I was actually going into this video last night, and it's pretty interesting. I think from an economic standpoint, it's pretty interesting. Gamer Nexus, Gamer Nexus, the PC.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of PC YouTube videos, Garret. So
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, he's really big on testing PC components. He's like on the level of like Linus Tech Tips.
okay,
But not in Linus Tech Tips is like, oh, let's go do crazy wacky stuff. Whereas Gamer Nexus is like, we're gonna be very technical. We're gonna be very thorough with our reviews. But anyways, he went across the country, met with a lot of product, like small company product lineups for PC components, and see what the impact of tariffs is for their companies. And it's pretty, and they get into the numbers of like profit margins and everything. Very informative. It's a long video, but it shows you the impact of just small businesses in general. So if you're interested in that, take a look. It's a good video.
nice.
Yeah. Fifth thing is Game Pass is killing it, Ryan.
Yeah, there's only 1 or 2 good games on Game Pass, right? Nothing crazy has happened on Game Pass lately.
No,
Obviously, we're going
nothing.
to talk about like the big drop from this week later in the show.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, it's I've been just playing Game Pass for the past, I don't know, 2-3 months, really. And there's so many more games I want to play on Game Pass. So yeah, it's been unlimited.
Yeah,
over
I
there.
know on Xbox Drive last night, the crew had like a big discussion about Game Pass, where there was a ton of stuff that's come out this month. There, we got Clear Obscure there, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So
Yeah, and we won't get into too much, but I've been playing Blueprints.
Interesting.
On Game Pass, and for folks who don't know, it's one of the indie darlings that's hitting out there recently. It's also on PlayStation Plus Extra,
It is.
and it's a roguelike, like house simulation. So you basically go into a grid-like mansion thing, and then so in each like side or corner of the wall, you open a room, and it can be any you choose from 3 different rooms for that specific square, and then so you choose the square, and then you open it, and then there's various things you can get from the room. And it's just a roguelike, goes over and over again. The objective is to go to the 46th room, which is the last room, all the way up top. But you'll have limited steps, and then sometimes rooms don't always have doors in all sides. So you can basically close yourself up if you're not careful, and you won't be able to get to the last room. But it's a roguelike, so you go over and over again. This is so good. I'm hooked. So
Nice.
great little puzzle game. So for folks who likes, let's say, The Witness or anything like that, this is a good one.
Those
sure.
games, Garrett, always intimidate me, and they're like way too smart for someone like me. Where I get very frustrated playing games like that. But I'm glad that a lot of people are enjoying it, because I know Phoebe and Bowser also really enjoyed it. So I definitely know our team is on the side of blueprints for this one.
I have a notepad for it. I've been writing down notes,
God.
like left
You
and
too.
right.
It's probably not as bad as Fee's notebook, which she showed it last night. It's like pages and pages of stuff.
Oh yeah. I can't take detailed notes. That's just not how my brain works. But like when I capture like a picture or like a code or whatever, I was like, okay, let me write that down. It's the first time I've been writing down notes for a video game.
It's like you're playing,
Yeah.
an NES game all over again, where you've got like the
Exactly.
graph paper out and drawing maps and stuff, Garrett.
Exactly.
Good God. Well, dude, those are some crazy 5 things. So shout out to
Crazy
that.
5 things.
But we've got, in fact, since we've been away so long, Garrett, we've got not one but 2 little side quests I want to get to. But we don't need to spend too much time on at least this first one. But I at least wanted to at least talk about it a little bit. So, Garrett, the Switch 2 pre-orders went up this week.
They did.
I managed to get a pre-order. Did you try and get a pre-order? Did you get one?
I did not get into the pre-orders for Switch 2.
Interesting.
And I've decided I won't get a Switch 2 until there's a first-party game I really want.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting, Garrett. Yeah, I know, like, because I when I think about you as a person, I think about you as like a Nintendo Switch person and a PC person, and then of course Game Pass stuff. So I'm actually very surprised to hear you say that. But at the same time, that's a good point. Like, if you're not, there's no reason to hop in right away, especially with it being expensive. If you're not, if there's something you're really interested in.
Yeah. It would be nice to have the, it's an updated hardware, has updated graphics and frames, and that's great and all. But at the same time, my Switch 1 just works fine for what I want it to do. And I don't want to, well, the pre-orders, of course, Ryan.
Of course.
It's a little crazy. Well,
I'm about to get into that, because that was what I was about to talk about. But yeah, like it's also one of those things too, where like here in Canada, I think it's a different situation, where it's like, if I know that I want the Switch 2 down the road, it's only going to get more expensive, because
Which is crazy.
Because that's the way all the consoles here work, where they've only gotten more expensive over time. So if I know I'm going to want it, because I'm going to want it for Metroid Prime 4 before the end of the year, it's just like, well, I might as well just buy it right away. Like, that's kind of the way I look at it. But my experience was not great, because basically all night, like the first night, when they went live at midnight, I couldn't get anything. I would basically sat in virtual queues for an hour and a half on multiple locations trying to get a Switch 2, and to no avail. But then the following morning, where some of the other Canadian retailers went up, I was able to snag one. In fact, Garrett, I was actually able to snag 2, because I have a backup.
Nice.
So I was able to get it from Best Buy, but then like fighting through the queues and stuff. But interestingly enough, Amazon did this invitation system where if you were an Amazon Prime member, you could sign up to be invited to buy a Switch 2. So, and they basically would just send you an email with a link you would just jump into to buy it. And that came literally the next day. So I ended up just going in there and getting that to be kind of like my primary order, and Best Buy will be my backup, because I ordered all my accessories from Amazon. So I was like, I kind of want all the things to come in one box, and I know it'll ship from the processing center that's 45 minutes from my house. So
Nice.
It should be there day one, barring some kind of catastrophe.
I heard there's like some beef with Nintendo and Amazon. Do you know anything?
Yeah, they're usually their hardware shipments are pretty quick, but the software, it's like, especially day one software, can be tough, can be tricky. But that's also why I have Best Buy as a backup, because you never know what happens. But I'm excited to get it. I'll talk about that more at some point in the future. But
yeah, sounds good. I'm glad you got a pre-order and a backup order. That's good stuff. I know a lot of people. Did you get the Mario Kart bundle? Sorry,
of course.
Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
Thank God, because I was worried I would have to get it without it, Garret. But I'm so glad I did, because there was no way I was going to spend 130 Canadian dollars on Mario Kart.
I get it. Too much money. But I also like personally for me, like I had this. I did the Switch one. I didn't do the pre-order, but like I got it very early, like 2017.
Yeah.
And then I just remember seeing the special editions later and like the new stuff. I'm like, that looks cooler. But I already have a Switch, so I'm really holding on hope. Like next year, or even like the year after, it's like, okay, here's a special edition of whatever of this, or Switch 2 Lite. That's what I might be waiting on.
That's a possibility too. I mean, they'll probably do a Switch 2 Lite at some point, but especially because for kids, because like it's so expensive now that like you probably don't want to buy the current system for kids, but like a Switch Lite probably is like where they get families in a big way. So yeah.
So cool. And then you're able to get your Metroid Prime 4.
Oh yeah.
And glorious 60 frames. Was it 4K on the TV?
Or you could play in handheld at 120.
That's gonna be looking so nice.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the best way. Like I'm so happy for you that you get the best way to play that game.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's a game I actually think will look pretty good just on Switch 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Just with just at 60 frames, 1080p. So, but yeah, definitely. Like, I'm so glad. Like, this is the one to get. That the Switch 2 for, especially too, because I'm actually really excited to play the game with mouse controls. Because I love playing. Because Metroid Prime on the Wii used the pointer controls, which I think is like the best way to play those games. So I'm actually really excited to play Prime 4 with the mouse controls, because I think you'll get like a similar experience with that. But,
cool, man.
Yeah, but other than that, Garret, let's move into our second side quest before our topic of the show, because I want to do a little bit of a what we're playing, and also this gives me a good chance, Garret, to wax poetic about a certain collection that came out.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, I'm excited. First of all, let's just get it out of the way. The Lunar Remastered collection, Garret, came out.
It did.
While we were away. This collection is awesome. I am
Nice.
so happy I'm so happy we finally have the Lunar games on current gen consoles. And while they didn't give us any like extras, like, concept art or anything or like a museum or like other stuff that I would have loved to see them do, just having like the remasters they provided, they did a really good job on. So here's a couple facts about the Lunar Remastered collection. Number one, as much as people don't love this, they re-recorded all the voice dialogue, which is great. Like, I actually think all the voice dialogue is pretty good this time around, but they used the working design script and didn't rewrite anything. And as Garret, as you probably remember from playing Lunar on the Sega CD, man, that script is it's got some dated references in it.
You got Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's based off the PlayStation 1 version, so I mean, like, it's not the same as what you played, but it's it's got its own fair share of dated references in
ads or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, the visuals look really good. It's a game like the PS1 version of the game already still stands through the test of time visually, as far as just it's a 2D like top down sort of role playing game, and the characters themselves are like, they're not hand drawn, but it's closer to like Super Nintendo, but higher quality graphics. Is kind of how I would describe the character designs and kind of the landscapes are like hand painted and stuff. So it's a very pretty game, and they kind of brought that further even more, where it's upscaled to 1080p. It's widescreen now instead of 4:3, although you
Nice.
can play it in 4:3. All the cutscenes, though, are still in 4:3, as they should be. But the rest of the game is in, widescreen. The cutscenes themselves, Garrett, they, upscaled them to HD, and they look beautiful. They look so good. And in the PlayStation 1 version, there are a ton more cutscenes than in the Sega CD version that you played. So there's a lot of storytelling that takes place there, and man, they look so good. They even give you an item in each of the games to actually allow you to go back and rewatch any of the cutscenes that you want to. So you can just sit there and watch them all day. It's like a movie and stuff. It's actually pretty cool.
Super cool, man. I'm super happy for you getting this remake. Is it Gung Ho Games that
it is Gung Ho Games. They because they own all of the Game Arts games like Grandia and Lunar, which is funny because they did this poll a long time ago before the Grandia remaster came out, and we're like, which of these IPs do you want to see remasters? And it Grandia and Lunar were the two top options, but I guess Grandia won, so they put out the Grandia remake. But people are flocking to this remake in droves, Garrett, in ways I wasn't expecting. Because first of all, the physical edition is sold out everywhere. It's going on eBay currently for $170, and people are buying it.
That's crazy.
Because people want to own this game physically. But then on the PlayStation Store, it's one of the top downloaded games of the month. It's in the top of the charts. It's one of the highest new games this month. I think it's kind of being overtaken a little bit by Clear Obscure since it just came out. But it's actually pretty cool to see this game get the love and attention that it deserves, because these are games that people missed out on back in the day. But I'm glad that we finally have them on a modern platform. One of the other things that I didn't mention as well yet is that I'm so thankful for, Garrett, is that these versions of the games, they are a little more grindy than the Sega CD version. So you do have to grind a little bit more, but they give you the option to up the battle speed to go by super quick. So you can just grind very quickly. In fact, one of my things now is while I've been playing Lunar 2, which is because I finished the first game and now I'm playing Lunar 2. I'm towards the end of it. It's just sitting there watching a podcast or something, and then playing the game in handheld mode on my Switch and just grinding through, just running around, grinding the enemies that I need to grind. So then I don't have any trouble with the boss fights. So you've got little quality of life enhancements added there.
Does it to direct you to the right path, some sort of objective marker, or
they don't, but this version of the game, Garrett, is a lot better about that, because pretty much if all you have to do is go to the last person you talk to, and they will say, oh, you should go to this place. And if you talk to them again, they'll give you even clearer instructions. For example, they're there was one I did last night where it's hey, your mission objective is in this city. And then I talked to the person again. It's you go to this city by going south from here and then west, and then you'll see a cave, and that leads you there.
Oh, wow. They give you pretty specific instructions now. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty easy it's a lot easier to figure it out on your own. This in the PlayStation version, which is what the version they use. That's the basis for this remaster. They also, in this version of the game, Garrett, you'll be thankful to know that there's no random encounters. There's all the enemies are on the map, and you fight them just as is.
That's
is nice.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So Lunar, I'm glad it came out. I'm glad it got announced. I remember you being so excited about this remake. And would there be any other Lunar games that they need to go back to after this?
There's not really anything new like that. That's the thing. We've got the Japanese only Lunar game that came out on the Sega Game Gear, of all things, that then got a Sega Saturn port, but came to nothing else. So there's that. It's kind of like a spin-off game that takes place in the city of Vane, which is the magic city that flies around. And then there's also one of the worst Nintendo DS games I've ever played, Lunar Dragon Soul, I think it's called. And that game sucks. Please don't make that come back. So That's the thing. They got us the 2 games we really wanted. And there aren't really any other Lunar games because you have to remember, I think we talked about this before with Lunar. Like the rest of the Lunar releases, Garrett, are all re-releases of the first game.
Yes, they are.
Like the GBA version is like a remix of the first game. The PSP one is a remake of the first game. The iOS version is a remake of the first game. But also, like, one of the extra I would have loved to see as part of this, though, would be like the Sega CD games just included as part of the package.
Got it.
But what's interesting, though, Garrett, is they offer you a remastered mode and a normal mode. And the only difference between them is the resolution. So
That's funny.
In original mode, you can play the game entirely in 4:3 for both Lunar and Lunar 2 at 240p.
Oh my goodness.
Which is the original resolution from the PlayStation 1. It like upscales it, but it's very blurry.
Interesting. Okay.
But you can play that way. It has like CRT filters and a bunch of other stuff you can apply to it too. Basically, as if you wanted to play it as like a retro release. Like if it was on NSO, that's probably what it would end up looking like.
What's the digital price for Lunar?
It's 66 Canadian dollars.
Okay,
so it's probably $50.
Yeah,
US.
$50. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, but for 2 games, like 2 really, really solid games, I think it's a great collection, and definitely one I recommend to people. Like if you're new to RPGs and you have never played Lunar, I think this is the collection to pick up. Especially if you want to play Lunar 2 in particular, because that game, the original Sega CD version, has like a contentious leveling system. It's hard to play through now. Playing through the PlayStation version or the version that's included here, I think is the way to go with that one.
It looks like very colorful, super bright.
Yep.
Just looking at the screenshots on Steam page, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, the spell effects look awesome. Like the only downside, of course, that I've always had about this version of the game is the music. I don't think is as good as the Sega CD version. For like and that's tough when there's a lot of themes based around music with this game. But either way, Lunar Remastered Collection, I recommend it. I'm giving it my thumbs up. I think people should go check it out. So
Nice.
want to give it a shout out. But Garrett,
Yes.
you also finished Avowed. Finally, we can talk about
Finally.
it. We could do like a whole episode probably later about Avowed if you want to, but I'm curious to know what you thought about it.
I don't know if we should. We've talked a lot about Avowed.
That's true too.
So I know you finished it a while ago, and you had like your full impressions on it. I finished it like just this past Tuesday, clocking in, 70 hours, something like that.
Dang, son.
It took a little longer than I anticipated. I did pretty much everything except for like the totem pieces. I didn't go on that scavenger hunt. Like, my goodness, it's just no.
It sounded like a big pain in the ass to do all those. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, Avowed. It's a good game. It's a fun game. If
you sound so defeated while saying that, Garrett.
If you're okay, it's just the level of expectation involved, right? I would get into this game knowing that you are just gonna have an RPG light game, and you're gonna have a story that's very connected to the Pillars of Eternity universe, which is fine. Like, I understood it all by like kind of a few hours in. It takes a little bit to get used to, and the choices are actually, I would say, pretty hard to me. Like, I couldn't really figure out which way to go for the most part in a lot of these decisions. So I would say that's one of the pluses with this game. I think what I'm so defeated by it is that it really isn't its own story. Like, it is and it isn't. It really just feels like an expansion to Pillars of Eternity more than anything.
Right.
It's like if this was a CRPG Pillars of Eternity of a Living Lands expansion or something like that, I would totally believe this is the story that they would tell.
Right.
That's how connected it is.
Yeah, because I got the same sense too, Garrett, where it was like, again, like part of the reason why I didn't love all the lore that was there as well for as someone who wasn't a Pillar of Eternity fan. It was like, yeah, it really felt like, oh, it's really like the like almost like a direct sequel to one of those games or like an expansion. Like it felt like it was just like it's another one of these games.
It really
that's
is
in the series. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of pieces that it's somehow just it works in the end as a product. It's like, okay, yeah, it's acceptable to work. Let me just get into first the highlights, the gameplay. Gameplay is good. I would say that's probably one of the strongest highlights of the game itself is that it's really solid in terms of just like getting into combat zones against enemies and just rattling off different skills that you have to making sure that you are at an advantage. It really reminds me of, let's say, like the parkourness of like Dying Light or like, let's say, Borderlands or something like that. It's very kinetic action gameplay. And if you have the right skills and the right buffs and debuffs, you can pull off really cool combos against monsters. And then you have to be very careful with enemy reactions, enemy attacks, and then there's environmental related effects as well. So overall, I think that the gameplay is very solid. Yeah. I was a magician for the majority of the game. Ooh. So I just chose that route, and I didn't really want to just go off to a different kind of class or whatever, just because I was having so much fun with the wizard, but also I just didn't want to learn new things with other, or just see what works with the other ones. So maybe the other ones are more fun. I don't know. But I was a wizard for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that before. I remember you mentioning that. Whereas, like when I played, I was a gunslinger. I was playing, dual pistols, and then I had like a shotgun was like my secondary weapon. But it was a lot of like ranger skills and stuff like that. I decided to go with in the end, which is interesting because like when I played it initially, I was like, oh, maybe I'll play the magician. But it really was. Like after I got past the tutorial island and I got my first set of dual pistols, where I was like, okay, I'd rather just do this instead. I think.
Yeah. So I got to the I think one of the things I didn't really care for was the skill level up system.
Yeah.
It got to the point I would say like 70% of the way through. There wasn't much more than what I had. I got to the last tree, the last set of skills. It was only 2 skills on the last set in the wizard route, and it's just like, now this is boring. Like, why didn't you do more here?
I think they wanted you to encourage you to put points in other skill trees, though. I think that was the thought process there.
Yeah, and I looked at other trees and it didn't really fit with my style, I guess, with the way I was doing. But basically, at the end, I was a fire magician. So I had a grimoire that had all fire spells. Yeah. I put all my points into fire-based skills or damage, and then I had a little wand, and I maxed out the wand attack and buffs and debuffs and stuff like that. So that's the way I went, and it worked out really well for me, I guess.
Nice. Nice. But
yeah. So gameplay very solid. Everything else very. I would say surface level stuff. So companions, they were fine. They just felt like set pieces. I think we talked about this before, so I won't get into too much of that.
Yeah, they were fine. They were very interchangeable.
Yes, definitely. They were interchangeable. The way they talked to NPCs was just like, okay, yeah, thanks for your comment.
Yep.
And then let's get back to the quest or whatever. Side quests were fine, but again, it just reminds me of a CRPG more than anything. It's like, okay, yes, I'm gonna go off to this next area that you're handing a quest in, and I'm gonna do the quest over there, and then I'm gonna come back and here's the result, here's your experience, and that's pretty much it. So there's that. I think the systems themselves, like crafting and like the skill development, I just think everything was just not deep. It was just like, here's the materials.
Yeah.
from each. I did not care for the rarity of the loot and the way that you increase that loot rarity, it increases the power and like for different level. I just didn't care for that.
Yeah. Well,
as
especially
much.
too, it was like that was the way that the rarity was more than anything was the way that like the world was kind of shaped around your character as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like it was the first game I really have ever thought about, like really seen that's kind of done that kind of thing.
Yeah, so each area that you get into will represent, I would say, like the borderline between two different rarities. So, like, you get into the second area, it's like, okay, you're either going to be the common or the next level up.
Yeah.
And you make sure you are getting the materials the next level up, or else you're screwed.
Yeah.
In that area. It's nothing to do with your skills, nothing to do with your leveling. It is your loot. And like and then the only way to upgrade, or you can buy, I guess, you can buy certain weapons or armor, but that takes a lot actually out of your currency.
Yeah.
The main driver is either finding loot or upgrading it at your camps. And then so when you upgrade at your camps, there's only a set defined materials. That is like two materials to upgrade from one to the next, and you just need a certain number of those. Yeah, again, I just thought it was pretty surface level stuff.
Yeah.
I think the exploration in the first two areas were probably the most interesting out of the whole bunch.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the later areas as much.
Yeah, for the most part, that's why like when I started getting to the third area, I think really burned me out because I was doing a lot of exploring there. So when I got to the fourth and fifth areas, I was just like, I kind of just want to mainline this and end the game at this point.
I get it. I did a lot of the fourth area stuff too. You do get you get more context of the in-game stuff if you do a little bit more side quests in the fourth area. But the third area, I agree with you. The third area was by far the most boring.
Yeah.
Out of all of them. Yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts on Avowed. It's like, get into it knowing that it's a light surface RPG like game with great gameplay, and the story's just fine, and the set pieces are just fine.
Unless you're a big Pillars of Eternity fan, then that's different. But anyone else, the story is fine and fun. But yeah, the combat for me was like my favorite thing about that game. It's the thing I enjoyed 100%. The most. So, yeah, there you go. That's Avowed. We both finished it. One last thing before we move on. Was there anything else that you've been playing that you wanted to highlight? For me, I don't have any other RPGs that I was playing. I am really, really excited to get into Clair Obscur and the game we're about to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I'm like, man, I'm so happy I'm close to the end of Lunar 2. So then that way, like, I'll finish that and then I can kind of play those games, especially before Doom comes out in 2 weeks. So, Garret, how about you, though? Do you have anything else that you wanted to highlight?
Well, while I was away, I actually grabbed my Switch 1. Just, pop it in the backpack, see when I am able to play it. I went back to Atelier Ryza 1.
Okay.
At least in my playthrough. I actually never finished it. And so I was just picking up where I left off and trying to figure out if I can get through a little bit more of that. Got instantly hooked back in. The crafting, man, it gets to me. It's so good. Yeah. But it takes a little bit now. I'm actually at a section of the game later in the game. It gets pretty grindy. Like you have to level up quite a bit in the combat. It gets pretty difficult. I guess it depends on if you have a lot of great crafting gear or not in the area. So yeah, still going through that. Nice. Switch 1. And I finished Castlevania Circle of the Moon on my Game Boy.
Yeah, I saw you put that up on your backlogged.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about it the last time that was like on your 3 things on the last episode was like how hard that game was. So.
Yeah, that was difficult. If you're a Castlevania fan, sure, yeah, go for it. But other than that, if you're not a Metroidvania fan, I don't know. I would not play this one first.
No, definitely not. I think like the later ones are probably like a little more approachable, I think.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Also, I will mention The 100 Line, the new game from the Danganronpa developers.
Oh yeah.
The demo is out on Switch. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I'm so excited to play that game.
People
too.
are going crazy over that game.
Yeah.
Like some people are like, "Hey, this is like one of the best tactical RPGs on the Switch."
Dude,
like,
it sounds awesome.
It's like on the level of like Triangle Strategy and Fire Emblem. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
so
it got amazing reviews too. So like I'm so excited to give it a chance. So yeah, the demo's out. I can't obviously buy it till July 1st, as I mentioned. I can't buy games until then. But that's on my list, of first games to play when it comes out.
It's on my list of eventually will buy if I ever manage my own front log in existence.
It's just like, man, that's this week is a rough week for that game to come out.
It's so rough, man. And didn't like the creators of that game say like, hey, you better buy this game or else we're out of business? I think I got
something. They said something similar to that effect. So
yeah, I think they got 2 games left. Is this one, and then there's another one later this year that they're releasing. So anyways, if you're into, it's not Spike Chunsoft, but like one of the developer for this game.
Yeah, so the idea is like the creators of Danganronpa left Spike Chunsoft and then formed their own studio. And this is like the first game from, or I should say the second game. I think they did
the second game.
I think they did like Go Home, not Go Home Club. It's like something similar to that.
Oh, Detective Club?
No, it wasn't.
Was it Raincoat?
It wasn't Raincoat. It was a different game.
Oh, okay. They make a bunch of different games, but
yeah.
Anyways, there you
go.
That's pretty much what I've been playing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, so what's the plan for Cyberpunk then?
Dude, we're about to get into like 2 major RPGs.
Oh, I know. I was just curious. I'm just curiously asking. It doesn't have to. I'm not asking you to play it right away.
I want to play Clair Obscur first.
You should.
That's the one thing. Oblivion, I think that can take its time. I think it looks good, but we can get into it. But yeah, Cyberpunk after Clair Obscur, I think.
Okay.
And then I'll be ready.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, Garrett, it is now time to read from the sacred texts. 53 minutes in the show, because I want to talk about Oblivion, our final topic today. Of course, the Oblivion remaster. We knew it was coming, Garrett. We heard so many rumors about this thing coming out, and they just shadow dropped it this week, just out of nowhere. It's like, all right, go play this game now. And this game is blowing up, Garrett. I don't know if you've seen this. It is like top in the Steam charts right now as far as people playing it and buying it. Tons of people are playing it on Game Pass. I'm seeing a lot of my friends and a lot of people in the carpool community playing Oblivion for the first time, which gets me excited because the Oblivion Remastered, Garrett, first of all, it's called Oblivion Remastered, but looks a lot more like a remake than a remaster.
Yeah, definitely.
But the trailer that they put out for it, first of all, talking about the history of it and stuff, got me so freaking excited to play this because I think we talked about it once on the show, but Oblivion was the very first Elder Scrolls game that I really got into because when the Xbox 360 came out, I was basically playing everything that was big on Xbox 360. Anything that was new, I was finding like anything that was out there for it. And I heard a lot about Elder Scrolls games before, and Morrowind, I had tried it on original Xbox, but just couldn't really get into it. So I was like, okay, do I give Oblivion a chance? And I'm glad I did, because I ended up spending 300 plus hours in Oblivion. I had all the achievements for the Xbox 360 version and loved that game. And it's still like the Elder Scrolls game that like I hold in high regards. Like I know a lot of people love Skyrim, but for me, like Oblivion was that game for me, because I think it was just a very time and place kind of thing for me. So I got so excited to play this again after seeing, the new version of it with some of the quality of life improvements, the new visual design. Like I'm actually very, very excited to play through this at some point, Garrett.
Nice.
Like I can't wait. Like this is like I almost don't need Elder Scrolls 6 right away. I'm like
that's true.
Bethesda, you can take as long as you want. I've got Oblivion to play, and especially too because it's been so long since I played this one, Garrett. Like God, I'm trying to remember. I haven't played it since I got the 1,000 gamer score, which was in 2000, at the end of 2006. So
It was a while ago.
yeah, it's been almost 20 years since the last time I played this game.
Wow.
So I've totally forgotten a lot of the stuff in the game, anyways. So I'm actually really, really excited to go back to it, and of course join the Dark Brotherhood, of course, and murder a bunch of people because that's what I do.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, you also mentioned you're going to kind of wait a little bit because it's a busy period now for it, right?
It's a busy period. I know this Oblivion game will take a while. I think also I just need to be in the right timing of it. Like, I don't want to like, oh, let me play a little bit of it now, a few hours. Okay, I'm going to play other games. I don't want to be like that with Oblivion. I want to come into it dedicated. Like, okay, I'm going to be very focused and this is the major game I'm playing. I actually never played Oblivion like really in depth. I actually played I did play a little bit at my friend's place back in 2006 or 7 or whatever. I remember actually playing it, and it was one of the first times I've played a first, it's one of the first person open world RPGs. And I was like, what is this?
Yep.
And my friend's like, oh, it's Oblivion. And I'm like, I've never heard of it. And I think the controls were just a little wonky for me
Yeah.
when I was playing it. And I was like, can we just go back to Halo?
Yeah. Well, it had like the
That's pretty-
Bethesda jank too to it, like especially with the combat. So
I wasn't a believer back then. I was too young, too naive. And then I was a believer once Skyrim came in and took over my life. So yeah, Oblivion's always escaped me. I always wanted to play it. I have it. I have it on, back and bat. I have it on Steam. But now we have the remastered on Game Pass, and now I've installed on my Steam Deck here.
Nice.
And I have it all over on my Series X, and it's ready to go when I'm ready to dive into it. But yeah, it looks, wow. That it looks so good, as you mentioned, what they did to this game, putting a fresh coat of paint, the voice acting looks so good.
But it also, I love too that they kept in some of the jankier visual and audio things as well. Like apparently, like they left in the blooper audio take where it's just like, well, let me try that one again, like in the middle of the voice line. Like that's still there. Like I love some of that stuff. So, yeah, like that's the thing. Like Jordan makes a good point here, talking about how he doesn't have nostalgia for Oblivion, but it looks cool. Like I think a lot of people just might have missed out on this one because of timing reasons, or just a lot. Like you have to remember, this game's almost 20 years old, so it's just, it makes perfect sense to release it now. Where I think people are probably looking for that next Elder Scrolls experience, and they don't know what to turn to. And I think this is a great option for those people. Like, again, the story, I think for the most part still probably holds up pretty well. And the combat, I think, got a little bit of an overhaul to make it a little bit, smoother, a little bit better this time around. Like I think this is the game that, like, if someone's looking for a good Bethesda Studios game to play right now, like I think this is a great option to recommend.
Nice. It does include all the DLC as well.
Yes.
The complete package.
The only thing the only DLC it doesn't include in the base game, Garret, the horse armor.
Oh,
the horse armor you got to buy as part of the digital deluxe edition, because of course they had to do that as a joke.
Of course.
They mentioned it in the video, actually, is that they're like, yes, we included horse armor in the digital deluxe edition. That's the joke.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah, it looks quirky. It looks like, a game that they would make before Skyrim. I'm curious, like, I always compare it to Skyrim because that's my tether. Like what stands out to you with Oblivion? Like what's there that's not in Skyrim that's like, okay, this is Oblivion, you got to play this.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think there's just, I think it's just a different feeling type of game, because like Skyrim, it's like you're in like mostly a cold Nordic setting. A lot of the story revolves around kind of the dragons, but also kind of the Nords versus the Imperials. Whereas Oblivion has a very different feeling story to it. For the most part, the main narrative is kind of focused around closing these Oblivion portals that the Daedric army are trying to use to kind of invade Tamriel. And you're kind of working with the Imperial nation, but also like the side stories in Oblivion, I felt were much different than Skyrim, and I just really were into a lot of the weird side stories, especially like the different guilds in particular had like really interesting stories in Oblivion. Like I said, my favorite is still the Dark Brotherhood. I love them, but I'm also just a very evil person, so it just makes sense that I'm gonna really love the Dark Brotherhood storyline a lot. But I mean, the Thieves Guild one is also really, really good too. To the point where you have to pull off this like huge robbery, and it's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, like there's all kinds of cool stuff in Oblivion. And for me, I don't know. I guess it was just the flavor more than anything is what works for me over Skyrim. If that makes sense.
Got it. How did the leveling up system work with Oblivion? Was it similar to Skyrim?
So it was similar to Skyrim, but it wasn't the same. But with this new version, I think they made it like much closer to Skyrim's.
Got it.
So you basically just do all the stuff you want to do, and it kind of levels up that way. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. And it looks like, it's like Oblivion is a very temperate landscape. There's not much diversity in terms of the biomes. It's just the way that area is, right?
No, there's a lot of diversity. Like you can go up into the mountains and go see like the snowy areas. There's like the Golden Coast, which is like a very it's full of farm fields, and it's got the coastline. Whereas you can go to the Imperial City, and it's kind of like it's your standardy kind of foresty area. You've got like the marshlands. Like there's a bunch of like different areas you can go here. Then the Oblivion portal is like totally different from everything else anyways too.
Okay, cool. And then so you close these portals up, and then do you get a power, or do you? Yeah,
that's kind of how they do like the different power system. You don't get specific powers, but you do get like big leveling boosts and other stuff.
Okay,
that I won't get into. I don't know how they've tweaked that for this version of the game either. Because I know that they did some tweaks with the leveling and stuff. So I'm interested to see how that turns out as well. The only downside in this version, you can't become a werewolf, which is always one of my favorite things in Skyrim, but you still can become a vampire. So
okay. That sounds good.
You can still live forever if you want to. Yeah.
I heard, I just one question for you. I hear the dungeon kind of level design is really repetitive.
Yeah.
In Oblivion. I'm assuming they didn't change much with that.
I don't believe so. As far as they've mentioned that the dungeons are going to be the same as they were in the original game.
Got it.
So yeah, I'm imagining like, because that might be one of its Achilles' heels is the dungeon design is not amazing.
Well,
but also I don't know, like I never really got sick of the dungeon design personally in the original game when I originally played it. I might feel differently now, but back then I didn't really have as much of a problem with it as other people did.
Well, you remember those years, like early to mid 2000s, like we would have these repetitive level designs, and all of us were like, oh my gosh, look how huge and big this not open world, but just like this game is. Like I remember that with like Halo 1, and I remember replaying Halo 1 like recently, like a few years ago, and I'm like, this one level is like, oh my gosh, why is it just a door after level of the same exact thing? It's pretty funny how our mentality of like how to play a video game and level design really changed since that time period. So
especially like actually the one I always cite with this thing is Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 basically uses the same 3 dungeon designs over and over again.
Goodness.
And it's just like, all right, this layout is exactly the same as the last dungeon I was in, but hey, the monsters are in slightly different places, or they're slightly different monsters, but all in the same places as you fought them before. So,
well, let me tell you, it was innovative at during the time. So we were munching it up. We were like, this game is awesome.
Well, people were not like that with Dragon Age 2.
Well, not with Dragon
but also
Age
that was like a not early Xbox 360 game either. Like,
That's true. It's like a 2009 game or something like that, right?
I think it was like 2010, 2011.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you have to remember it came out. It came out. I can't remember if it came out the year before or the year after Mass Effect 2, but it was around the same time as Mass Effect 2 came out.
Which is crazy because it's both from BioWare.
Yeah, but they had two different teams. But
2011.
yeah, I knew it
Wow.
was like later. Which is
I didn't
just
know
funny.
it was that late.
Yeah.
I thought Skyrim was way after Dragon Age 2, but
Nope.
all right.
Same year.
Okay. Interesting.
Which is just funny to think about because, like I said, the dungeon design in Dragon Age 2, it's just like you're basically just doing the same 3 dungeons over and over again.
My goodness. Anyways, Oblivion, it looks really good.
Yeah.
I think Virtuous, the team that they worked really closely with, when I was watching that documentary, they are fans
Yep.
of Oblivion. Like, hey, I put in hundreds of hours into the original Oblivion game.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad people who are very dedicated to that game beforehand that are working on it and they're experts in their field. So
I
really
will
cool.
also mention if we get like a remaster or a remake of this caliber for Fallout 3 or New Vegas, like people are going to go nuts, Garret.
Oh, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't see me. like you wouldn't hear me. I was just like, I am gonna be so obsessed. New Vegas. I don't know. Like I don't know people out there is like, remake in New Vegas. That's a far-flung thing. 3 is very possible though. I know 3 is very possible, and I would be so done. I would be so into it.
Yeah, I mean the rumors are out there now that's what that's what people are talking about. But also it's just like we also saw that they were at least toying around with the idea with the leaks from the trial. So yeah, like I'm really interested to see like if they did this on this caliber for Oblivion, like what they could do with something like Fallout 3.
What's your take on the shadow drop for this game?
I know a lot of people are concerned because this is the same week that Claire Obscure was coming out, and Microsoft was like, they're not publishing it, but they're kind of like pushing that game very, very hard.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't. So for that reason, I don't love the timing of it, especially too because there's like for RPG gamers in particular at this point, there's a lot of stuff that's out. So there are a lot of choices, but I also don't have a problem with it because this is the type of game, as you talked about, where it's an older game. Most of us have already played it. It'll always be there for us whenever we want to play it. Like like this is the type of game that isn't going to leave Game Pass anyways, because it's a Microsoft first party game, and they typically don't leave Game Pass. So the shadow drop doesn't bug me. If anything, I think that for this type of game, like this type of re-release, Garret, I think a shadow drop is perfectly fine. Okay. I think it's different if you're doing like a new IP, like Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, the Hi-Fi Rush one was weird.
Yeah, I agree with the criticism about that being a shadow drop, but for this, like doing a re-release like this, I don't see a reason why it can't be a shadow drop or why it shouldn't be, because I think this was a good move. Maybe not necessarily the week I would drop it on, mind you, but I do think that I think it was totally fine. It was also too, it's just like, I know Xbox Drive, mentioned this last night as well, where they talked about like, well, maybe they had to release it here because it was the only time that really made sense. Again, we've got Doom in 2 weeks from Microsoft as well.
So crazy.
And then they might have other stuff next month that we don't know about either. So, like it's just like, it's like, well, if not now, when kind of thing. But yeah, I don't personally have a problem with it, but what do you think about it, Garret?
Yeah, shadow drops. I'm growing less and less like excited for, in general, just because at least from just the way I play, it's if you have a game and it's like, okay, I'm gonna instantly drop it now. It's like, well, I'm not gonna play it right now. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of other things.
Right.
Unless it's a game that would totally steer my attention away, like Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Or
like Metroid Prime Remastered for me. Like when that dropped, like I dropped everything to play that.
Yeah. So unless it's a game like that, it's just very hard for me to justify why are you doing this? Like what's the actual benefit of shadow dropping it compared to waiting a couple weeks, letting it breathe, letting people know that it's here, and then let a few days to like percolate across audiences, to the casuals, to the people who used to play video games, to the people who did play Oblivion but not so much anymore. I just think of that more than anything. It's like I don't know the cost and benefit analysis really for shadow dropping it compared to letting it go, let's say a couple weeks or a month or whatever. You may be right that the timing of it just didn't work out in terms of the Game Pass lineup. But I also think this game, I don't think it's going to be a Game Pass driver. It's going to be more of a Steam and PlayStation driver. Honestly, that's what I think of it. Like the money, the profit margins. Well, I think mainly going to be Steam, but also PlayStation. And so when I see a shadow drop, it's like, whoa, it's like people are not going to go over it. Now, I was proven wrong because the Steam charts are going crazy.
I was going to say, I pulled it up,
Oblivion.
Garrett.
Yeah.
174,000 are playing right now, currently at the time of recording.
So I might be the outlier in terms of just like, oh, I'm in the middle of a game, I'm not going to play this one. It seems like many people flocked to this game with a shadow drop. That's great. I'm just wondering how much more they could get if they were just only a couple weeks. Like just, hey, it's coming out next week.
Yeah.
Just to let the news settle. You know, when I see this presentation, it reminds me a little bit of like E3, in a sense. It's like, okay, yeah, you're doing an interview, you're releasing a game, you're doing a background of it. Now it's going to release, let's say in July or August. It's not going to be a shadow drop. That's the way it was, I think. But now they're like, hey, it's available today. It's just like, well, do I have time? Not so much. But again, I might be the outlier with it.
No, and again, like I agree with a lot of the points you brought up. I think again, that's why I think like this is the type of thing where like I only really like shadow drops for remasters, or remakes, especially like collections. I think is like the perfect time to do like
that's a good
shadow
one, yeah.
drop. Like if you like the Castlevania Dominus collection when they did like the DS Castlevania games, that shadow dropped, and I actually thought that was like a very effective way of launching that game. And I don't see a problem with it. Also, to all those people who thought that Oblivion would really, wreck Clair Obscur, there's currently 90,000 people playing it on Steam as well. So a lot of people are playing that game too. Not as many as Oblivion, but a lot of people are playing it.
Yeah, it was just pretty interesting to see. A lot. I mean, I think that's just the power of the numbers in Steam, and I guess there's largely enough audience differentiating between the people who want to play Obscure first and then Oblivion. I think in the end, I think it won't matter so much. From the Game Pass side, those two games will be in there. At least Clair Obscur will be there for a while. And then I would just say on the Steam front, your audience is inexhaustible. Yeah, there's just too many numbers there to count. And then PlayStation is just kind of like, here's the bonus on top.
What's also hilarious, Garrett, is that this is also the same week because it's a big week for Microsoft. We had actually 2 weeks because we had Indiana Jones come to PlayStation last week, and then we had Clair Obscur and Oblivion come this week, but also Forza Horizon also came to PlayStation this week.
That's crazy.
So it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's like, all right, Microsoft, chill for a second. I know you got Doom around the corner, but
PlayStation's officially an Xbox.
Yeah, it really is.
Much.
It's up there on the PlayStation charts as well. Like if you look at the games, the top games in my country right now, according to the PlayStation app, are currently Oblivion, Forza Horizon 5, Clair Obscur, and Indiana Jones, and Fortnite. So like they kind of it pretty much is an Xbox at this point, Garrett.
Interesting.
Except you buy the games. There's no Game Pass.
Yeah. So, well, that's just how it is now. And I mean, I think the pivot to with Xbox releasing all the exclusives to PlayStation, it was just a matter of time. I think we all knew that.
Yep.
It was just half baked for the longest time, and then they just kind of admit to it. It's like, okay, let's open the floodgates.
Yep.
And,
Especially with all these games coming to Steam too, I think has really helped them too.
But yeah, Oblivion. I'm curious how it runs on my Steam Deck. I didn't watch too many videos with that. I also am. I installed it through the Windows, the Windows boot, the OS, and my experience with that, the performance on Steam Deck is a little worse on the Windows side versus the Steam OS side. So it might be, mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Clair Obscur, the Steam Deck performance is okay. When I looked at it, I was like, okay, just play it on console.
Yeah.
I heard the PC version is not so optimized either. But if you're good enough PC, it's just totally fine.
Yeah.
So.
I'm a little sad because I'm like, man, I wish I could just buy the game instead of just playing on Game Pass because it's PS5 Pro enhanced and it probably looks very pretty.
It's 50 USD, right? Oh wait.
I'm not allowed to buy games right now though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. Oblivion, is that 50 USD as well?
Yeah, they're both the same price.
Both are 50 USD, so it would be 66 Canadian or whatever.
Yeah, which is funny, Garrett, because if you buy those two games together, it's the same price as buying Mario Kart by itself.
That's insane. So yeah, it looks like Mario Kart is a little inflated in Canada in terms of US dollar value as well.
It's very expensive, but yeah. But anyways, yeah. In my plan, Garrett, because I didn't mention it before, but I'm going to finish Lunar 2. I want to finish it. It's going to be finished in the next day or two, like before the end of the weekend probably. And then Clair Obscur is going to be first.
Yes, Clair Obscur will be first. Okay.
Then I want to play Oblivion.
Okay.
Then I want to play Doom Dark Ages.
Okay.
That's like my plan, my road map, and then Cyberpunk after that because I mentioned before I will play it along. We will both finish it and talk about it together.
Sounds good. By the time you're done with all of those other games, I'll probably be done with Clair Obscur. So
okay,
we'll line up correctly.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We got this.
Yeah.
Although who knows? I might do another tournament bracket between now and then, and maybe another game gets brought into the shuffle, or who knows.
On the handheld side of things, my assignment, Bravely Default. Yep. I'm going to do it on my 3DS. I ain't doing that Switch version. It looks good. It looks super pretty.
You could also get it on PC, though.
No, Bravely Default 1's not on Steam.
I thought the remaster is coming to PC.
Really?
Let me just double check it. I'm going to fact check it.
Okay. Oh. Are you... I don't think so.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was also getting a PC version, but you're right.
No, it's a Switch 2 exclusive.
Well, never mind. Forget I said anything.
Because I think it's published by Nintendo.
Right. It's another one of those, which means it will probably get a PC version at some point.
At some point, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like Live Alive and all those other games.
Yeah. What was the?
Because in fact, like Triangle Strategy also. Only got a PC port and didn't get a port to anything else after the Nintendo thing.
What's that Monolith Soft game, the card game? I totally
forgot. Batten Kaitos?
Yeah. When I saw those on PC, I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah. Well, especially because that's a Nintendo first party.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's coming back on the GameCube emulation right there. So
that's true.
But I love my 3DS, so I got to play it on it. And it looks... honestly, other than visuals, it doesn't look like they did anything else other than increase the resolution in frames.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, the gameplay is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think about these game key cards on Switch 2?
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm going digital only anyways, so I don't really care at this point. I mean, I understand why people are upset about it, but especially because it's all pretty much all third-party games.
Third-party, man. 90% of it.
Yeah, Cyberpunk is one of the only ones, and I guess all the Marvelous games. Those are the only ones that are actually on the cartridge. I mean that's one of the things that I always liked about the Switch was you never had to install games from the cartridge if the game was on the cartridge. Obviously, you would have to download updates, but that was really it. For me, since I've decided, I think this generation for Switch specifically, I'm just going to go digital only with my Switch 2 games. I think
sounds good
because I don't. That's the thing. We don't especially for first party games, we don't really see sales anyways. And if we do, like the sales usually get translated to the digital versions anyways. And then I don't know, for whatever reason, like I feel like there's a lot of like games go on sale a lot on the eShop anyways. Like just as often as I would see in a physical store. And I'm not really lending games to people or anything. So like, yeah, I don't see any reason for me to deal with, physical game cards. But what about you, Garret?
Totally.
Do you care about that?
I used to with Switch 1 just because not being a physical holder, but it literally saved storage for me. I was like, okay, great. Thank you for having a physical card and it's cheap enough. I will grab that and save some storage and they're tiny enough. They're little chips. So I'm not, I can put it in my little case and we'll be good to go. CDs is a different story. I'm just like, I'm done with discs.
Yeah.
I'm so done with discs. Other than it being a steelbook or whatever, I'm kind of out on that. But yeah, I think I agree with you. Switch 2, I'll probably be all digital once I get it. Hopefully the prices on the Micro Express thing gets a little dampened down a little bit.
I'm assuming they'll go down over time, like when more manufacturers are making them. It's just like it's such new technology that there's just not a lot of competition out there yet, but that'll come with time. It'll be like the PlayStation hard drives where like they were very expensive when the PlayStation 5 came out, but then you see them now and they're actually very cheap. Yeah.
Much better at than the proprietary ST. The Xbox micro the storage solution, it is an SSD in there. Literally in the car, but it wouldn't allow any other adapters. It's kind of crazy. But
I'll also let you know, Garret, which is interesting to think about, is that here in Canada, no stores here in Canada, as far as I know of, up until this point, have sold micro SD express cards. And it wasn't really until this switched to like branded 256 gigabyte card went up for pre-order that this was like the first time we've had that card type available in Canada to purchase. Wow. Like we had to like order them from Amazon America to import them essentially.
Yeah, because they were first for I guess cameras. Isn't that correct? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean at this point, like the only thing that really most people only use like micro SD cards for either the Switch or for cameras at this point. Mm-hmm. So like you don't use one for your phone anymore.
You use it for your emulation machine.
There's that too. Yeah. Like gaming devices.
You use it for your Steam Deck as well. Your PC handheld.
That's true. That's true. But anyways, that's going to do it, I think, Garret, for this episode of the RPG Cave. But before we go, we got to say thank you to all of our patrons. We're at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, starting with our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the PlayStation Drive. You can find out all of his music over at his Linktree, linktr.ee/pme.gib. Cwagmire, who humbly reminds you that the best babes are in fact Xenobabes, and TechMike, who says, whether you're Kevesi or Agnian, you're a Xenobabe at heart. Links to all of our ultimate producers can always be found in the description of our podcast. Our platinum producers, Smokin Joe, The Captain, Tim Paullin, and Toxic, and our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Emily Kelly, John 32, Ligerwoods 330, Mr. Giggles, OldMrFrump, Patrice Mallette, Peje, and Stephen Keller. Huge thank you once again to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. If you want to hop in the car with us, head over there, choose the tier that's right for you. And now, Garret, plugs go.
You can follow me on Blue Sky at Blind Explosion. I've been posting a lot more, so yeah, you can follow me there if you want to. You can get into the craziness.
You don't have to, but if you want to.
Exactly. And then I'm in the Discord. I read every single message. Well, the ones that I really care about, I read them. If I see trails in the first kind of line, I kind of just skip the whole discussion.
You mean to tell me you're not going to be in with the rest of us when Trails in the Sky first chapter comes out later this year?
You know what? That will be their only hope for me. That's the one chance. Coming out in September, that's prime time.
Yeah.
I don't see anything else in the periphery that's going to capture me in September. So,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that'll probably be announced at E3 this year that will actually enter that periphery. Because there's a lot of stuff, Garret, that has a 2025 release date, but no actual date yet.
Yeah.
Because
So
people are
get
waiting
ready.
for Grand Theft Auto. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff in September, actually, now that we know that Borderlands is out in September. Because
Oh, yeah,
they're obviously not
Borderlands
going to release Grand Theft Auto in September. So I think people are going to put a
Probably
bunch of games there.
October, November, something like that. Yeah.
If it comes out this year at all. But
It better come out this year with my fantasy critic lineup.
see, I don't want Kevin Ainsworth to win my league, so I'm actually cool with it waiting until next year.
Update for me. I had Claire Obscure in my fantasy critic lineup, and that was a nice feeling, just to see that score.
You know what, Garrett? You know who else had Claire Obscure?
You?
This person.
Nice.
I also had Claire Obscure in my bracket as well.
A nice 22 points.
Yep.
Just handed to us. That was good.
I still got good games this year too, because I have Donkey Kong
That's a good one.
in a couple weeks, and then I've got Metroid Prime 4 on
That's a good
mine. I've got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and then
Solid.
I've got whatchamacallit, the Kirby's Air Riders.
Yeah, I'm curious how that one's gonna go.
Yeah. I think it's a Sakurai game, and I feel like it's gonna get inflated points on review scores
Sakurai-ness,
simply because it's Sakurai directed it.
I forgot what else I had. Oh, I had that Black Desert. Oh no, Crimson Desert.
Crimson Desert, yeah,
And that game's locked, so like it was counterpick.
yeah.
So
Well,
I think
I was gonna say
be
I have a game counterpick too because it's the Captain America Black Panther game.
Oh, that's a good one actually.
If
I
it
would
actually
say.
comes out, it will.
If
be.
it comes out, yeah. And then I counterpicked Mafia, and I don't know, it's looking good. It has a sweet little set piece going on, but yeah, I'm just holding out hope it's gonna be the same repeat as last time. But I don't know, less of a chance of that, I think, this time around.
Whereas I have my counterpick was Replaced, that indie game from Xbox.
Oh,
I don't know if that game is ever coming out. So
yeah, that's a good one.
like it's
Good
supposed to
one
come
to
out a
catch.
couple of years ago, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this game actually releases this year. It's kind of like it's kind of entered like Hollow Knight Silksong territory, where it's not from a hype perspective, but just the perspective of like, will this game ever actually come out? Whereas I felt bad because I saw in one of our other carpool leagues, Nagachaka had counterpicked Claire Obscure,
Oh no.
and he was very sad.
Yeah, no, that would wreck the points right there for sure. You can also follow me on Backlogged
Yeah.
at Bland Explosion. I've been doing reviews. I pulled out my Avowed review and then my Castlevania Circle of the Moon review.
Yep. I purposely made sure not to go look at it until after this episode because I didn't want to see what you thought about Avowed until after we talked about it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I pretty much regurgitate what I
What we said here. Yeah.
what I said here. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
As for me, you can also find me on Backlogged at Ryan Turford, where I've been putting little reviews up for other stuff because I played Shovel Knight, and then I also played
Nice.
Lunar and a whole bunch of other stuff this week. So
Shovel Knight's so good. I love it.
that game's great. I also played Streets of Rage 1 for the first time. And that game was
Nice.
fun too. So playing a lot of good stuff on Backlogged. You can also find me in the Discord at Ryan Turford as well because I'm there.
There you go.
I'm in the Discord, not on
You
social
are in the
media.
Discord.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Stay like that. Be the person outside of that social media influence.
Honestly, dude,
It's
it's been really freeing in a lot of ways. I still have a Twitter account and a
Just a
Blue Sky
follow
account
over
just
there.
for research purposes because sometimes I have to use it for work and whatnot. But yeah, for the most part, it's been nice not to have to deal with that stuff. But
Nice.
anyways, for Garrett Bland, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been the 179th level of the RPG Cave, and we're out.
Bye bye.